Language is an important part of all social and cultural groups, but it seems to have a special place in the African American experience.
We've come through racial discrimination. We've come through poverty. We've come through the floods. We've come through a whole lot. But you know what, Princeville? You're still standing.
Even inside the African American community, when you go from region to region, there are really different voices and sounds.
Got in front of the White House there, in the back of that woods, way back there. It's deep back there. Which they had logged some of it out, but back on the woods where we hunt bears. Usually me and Dog go out there and mow the field paths so they can see them real good. So it's $500, that's the go, and $500 to kill one. So it's very expensive shooting bears. We'll swing by there and show them where we mills on the way back through. Let's swing back through this.
You can tell the difference between an African American who lives in Northeast, because they say scrape, which is not something you'd hear in Durham or you'd hear in Winston-Salem or you'd hear in Fayetteville. But if you hear scrape or screet, you know exactly where they came from. Inside the African American community too, there is a love of language. There's a love of listening to different styles of language. It's the music and the poetry of the language, no matter which vocabulary set you're using.
Say what? They'd say honey child, because I would always, it's just a part of my language, honey child, because I talk just like the people at the foot of the Blue Ridge Mountain with that kind of twang and that kind of thing. And so that was just a part of me.
I have noticed this. Every clique has their own lingo. Every clique. It can change from a clique standpoint to a state standpoint to a region standpoint. You see what I'm saying? We might say stuff in North Carolina that people in Georgia might not say, but there may be things that people in North Carolina and South Carolina and Georgia would say all together. See what I'm saying?
I've been told I've talked like I'm from the city. I've been told I talk like I'm from the country. I just talk like I talk. I am who I am.
Only you and you alone can thrill me like you do and fill my heart with love for only you.
Dialect suggested at times a worldview that I was always interested in. There's a form in black dialect, the B form. I'd be doing X, Y, and Z, or I'd be going, or that particular issue, which I always thought was interesting, but maybe very descriptive of being in process, which is somehow not expressed in the regular language pattern.
It's a whole bunch of people in New York that we know from down here, and the way they be talking and stuff, they like, you can't have to understand them. They have to stutter because they don't know like our language. And that girl that was like, yeah.
I know in my church, there's a lot of bending of the rules, you know, i.e. using of language, but it's the use of language in a way to continue to communicate ideas. And oftentimes, it's not just ideas, it's emotions.
Only you can make all this change in me.
Y'all better get out there, bitch, with him. Y'all know who that is? Y'all better get out there, Calvin, boy.
That's right, baby, that's right. When you come to college, you get folks from upstate, you get folks from down south, so you get a different variety of voices here, but once you get to know the heart and the spirit of folks, we're all one big family.
I mean, you always want to be connected with a group and making sure that you're continuing to have that touchstone of this is where you came from, and this is how the people talk, where you come from. It's really important to not lose that.
You have to be able to relate to your peers and And you got to, yo, what up, what's going on, such and such, blah, blah, blah. It's our lingo, man.
What's cracking me? What's up? What's up me? For shizzle me. For shizzle me, yeah. Okay. And like when most people say, I can't explain it. You explain it.
If Fonte comes over and he plays, plays our daughter, and you like, say word up. And she's like, word up. It's just like in the 60s, if you got right on. Yeah, right on, and peace and and all of that. It's about the same thing. So it's a part of our life, just like it's a part of their lives, I guess.
We use that term because that's like a sense of family, you know what I'm saying? It's like, that's what determines the line, you know what I'm saying? If we're real close, then we're at liberty to talk like that because we understand each other. Where if you're outside and I don't really know you, and it's like, hey, how you doing? Yeah, it's just like, oh, hi, how you doing, man? Until I get that vibe that you loosed in, it's, yeah, well, what's up? You know what I mean? But until it gets to that point, then you kind of just do that, you know what I mean, to kind of draw that line. So the more closer you feel to somebody, then you loosen up, and the language plays a big part in that.
I've heard every walk of life say, I'm chilling, I'm cooling, what up, bro, what up, man. All of that is hip-hop music, which is the extension of 70s soul music, which comes off 60s Motown music. I mean, it carries on, So with hip-hop, I don't know where our generation would be as far as the way we speak and everything with our hip-hop music, man.
Every generation has to identify itself and create its own language.
They've negotiated a new space.
One day we'll quote it, and yes, I'm overloaded with rhymes, verbs, punchlines, similes, and metaphors. For better or worse, I crush any competitor's verse, and I keep spitting for PBS and Fonte off of the top, no second guessing. Cause I'm coming through with the right plan. And yes, in hip hop, we do have friends, and yes, he is a white man. His name is Joe Scudder, and he freestyle too. And I'm about to show you just how we do. I'm spitting with my cap on, and I'm gonna pass it to the left, the Scudder, so he can get his rap on. I clap on.
Yo, I'm back on the grind again. Stay reminding them we in the front where the line begin. You in the back where the line go in.
I think it's one of the many markers that people use to decide whether you're in the in group or the out group.
And that's one of the reasons for kind of mimicking the speech of people who you're around, or consciously deciding not to.
We were just talking about it on the way here, how people try to express themselves. Well, you don't need to express yourself so much that when you get out in society, you can't function. Because when you go for a job interview and the person sitting behind the desk, they may not want to hear that.
Particularly in the African American community, there is this idea that yes, you can speak in a much more relaxed, intimate black speech in certain spaces, and then in other spaces you have to speak a much more common English. And for some people, there's an internal struggle about, should you really do that? Should you really be trying to talk like white folk? Or should you always, all the time, no matter what setting you are in, speak the same way? Speak the same way your mama taught you to speak.
It all depends on what environment you're in, expectations of other people, what they think they need to hear from you. All of these are the kinds of things that you encounter when you're dealing with communication.